With Eshomomo Imodu and Tijesu Adeoye in our Abuja studio. Good morning, Eshomomo. Good morning, Tijesu. What's happening in Abuja?
Good morning to you. Like as usual, Abuja looks cool this morning, and everywhere looks calm.
Yeah, as usual.
Amazing.
Activities are beginning to pick up after the holidays, and people are getting back to work. It's good to see that everybody is back at their desks and work begins.
Now, hello everyone. We are live from Abuja studio in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and today we will be examining the critical role of opposition in Nigeria's democracy and its contributions to national development. Are you aware that democracy thrives on the principles of checks and balances, and one of its cornerstones is a vibrant, constructive opposition? In Nigeria, opposition parties and their representatives play a pivotal role in shaping governance and ensuring accountability at all levels. And the opposition is also essential for healthy democracy. It acts as a watchdog, ensuring that government remains accountable and transparent. Beyond criticism, it also offers alternative policies and solutions.
While the opposition role is to challenge and question, it also fosters collaboration when national interests are at stake, emphasizing unity over partisanship. Despite its crucial role, Nigeria's opposition faces challenges such as limited resources, political intimidation, internal party crisis, and restricted access to the media. However, a robust opposition remains fundamental to sustaining Nigeria's democracy and driving national development. And to bring us up to speed on the roles of the opposition parties in a democratic setting like Nigeria is the former People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in Ogun State, Segun Showunmi. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Good morning, guys. It's nice to see you. Let me first of all say congratulations on your studio in Lagos. The little bit I've seen, I can't wait to see it.
Well, you should pay us a visit.
You should be there.
I will. I'll try.
Now, let's talk about your recent visit to the National Secretariat of the SDP alongside the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, to review, the opposition's democratic engagement in Nigeria. What are the possible outcomes of that strategic meeting?
Wow, I like the way you asked it. I think that if we're to sustain democracy, we have the responsibilities as Nigerians to fashion out our own characteristics of this democracy. Because if you go around the world, you will find out that each person's democracy is slightly different from the other person's democracy. We have taken the American route, which is multi-party presidential system, but we're not American. So we're going to deal with the specific characterization of the Nigerian people. And in that regard, for opposition politicians and opposition element in the present dispensation of APC, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government, the first thing we need to first of all accept, which we are accepting now, is that our work is cut out for us. President Bola Tinubu is the first real politician that has won an election and is president. President Obasanjo couldn't call himself a politician, he's a soldier. President Buhari couldn't call himself a politician, he's a soldier. Jonathan really couldn't call himself a politician like that. He just came in over the misery of others. But Bola Tinubu is a politician. So if we're to engage him and if we're to ensure that he doesn't run away with the jar, the cookie pot, and the cookie itself, we must have a way to bring quality minds to think about this democracy vis-a-vis how does opposition play. Now, if you observe, I had created a platform called The Alternative, which I had been saying, it's not enough for us to say we don't agree with everything. We now need to be a bit more pragmatic, open up our minds to begin to review whatever it is that government is doing so that we country can make progress. The noise has to come down a little bit, and then we'll have to put our eyes on the ball. So what happened with the SDP visitation with my friend, the chairman of the party, His Excellency Ogaban, is that he is also a long-time politician like me. We've been in PDP together, and it was the beginning of the year. It was such an ingenious idea from him. That's why you have to have brilliant minds leading party. He thought it through that, look, it's the beginning of the year. Why don't I invite some passionate Nigerians who are interested in the progress of the country, and let's just banter, greet ourselves, and see where the discussion will flow. And that's what you got there. What can be expected of it? When politicians begin to greet themselves, something is in the offering. There are those who like clandestine meetings in the night, like sneak about like rats, but they're the bold element like us, people like Nasiru, myself, and the people that are very bold. We can own whatever it is that we're doing because we are not breaking any law. And in that context, we may find this capacity and the gravitas to morph political parties together and run and face the incumbent, especially because if you look around, there is a tendency for people to believe that there's a voice or hand of Jacob, voice of Esau scenario happening with the destabilization of the main parties. Let's start with NNPP. For no reason, they have only one state called Kano, and yet you see the elements that are, leaders of their party at some level, arms in gloves, fighting the only place where they even have some traction. Take a look at Labour. I mean, with due respect to them, they existed, but not in the manner that Peter Obi made them, become a force. But yet, if you imagine, he's the one that even has the biggest problem with the way they're even trying to manage the place. And I would not be kidding you if I say the PDP is not in a morass, moving all over the place like oil on water, just floating without form and stabilization. So when you see all of that happening at the same time, and the ruling party, the APC, doesn't call late meeting, doesn't do anything that is like political engagement at the party level, and yet they're just smiling and just gangling away, and you say, hey, what's going on there? So that kind of thing can bring us to a point where we're saying, let's find a common ground, let's look at the platforms, let's go and re-engage the Nigerian people on this democracy, and let's see what we can get. So it's possible that if the people in the villa, if they need to be scared, they should be worried, they should be scared. Okay. You have to look at where the numbers are. Anybody who takes Nasiru for granted is just a hater. You can't take him for granted. His energy level, his passion level, his capacity to just keep going at it and using science. If you take me for granted, you joke too much.
But Segun, the center of all this alignment and realignment of political forces is the 2027 election.
Of course.
Now, like you rightly stated, these principal parties, PDP, NNPP, SDP, Labour Party, all have internal crises. Now, if the structure, whatever you may call it, if the structure is not strong enough, how do you think they can come together? Is it an alliance they want to form or a merger? And how strong, how solid is it going to be ahead of a major election? Okay,
you see, I could tell you how it will be, but I won't give you the full details because that will be like, calling the farmer, calling the chief to come and steal and calling the farmer to come and arrest him. I won't do that. But what I can just tell you is that the things you should think about is this. Where are the numbers of the people and the habit of turnout in the country over the years? You can look at science. You can just put it to science. You have to assess that. Then the second thing you think about is that how are the mass of the people, forget about the friends of the president who are telling him all his way, how are the mass of the people in the country feeling relative to reform? Never forget that reforms are always hard. You put that in one box. Then you now say, okay, where are the political players who are even in his APC, who may be a little bit, uncomfortable, the ones in the PDP and all that, where are they? Then you then return back to 2023 and say, okay, what was the total number he was even able to get by himself? Then you put that in one box. Then you then break his numbers into terms. Okay, even his Yorubani said, what was the number he was able to bring from that southwest? Then you get clear. Then, okay, you can even do it further. Okay, the whole of the southern belt, what was the number he was able to pull? When you put all of that into it, then you have to be concerned that if they all come together, he's going to have to struggle because 4 things influence how people vote in our country. This is not guesswork. Scientific observed patternization. 1, tribalism. 2, religion. 3, where their ethnic group is. And then the habit of turnout. The habit of turnout. Forget about whether the election process is free and fair or not free and fair. We know those people who have the habit of turnout, who turn out on election day. And we know the ones who would rather be playing football, gisting, and when the elections are over, sit in the armchair and be talking everything they like, but the cat has bolted. The horse has bolted from the stable, and there will be nothing. So when you look at all of that, I think the president, or maybe not the president, because he should be busy with governors. I think those that are supposed, who on whose backs he became president, because you don't vote for yourself, you don't do everything all by yourself. I think they should be a little bit concerned, and it'll be good for them to. But if they are not concerned, it doesn't matter. The only bullet that a brave man doesn't see is the one that's going to kill him.
I would like you to talk about your political movement, the alternative. Yes. It's not the first time Nigerians are seeing groups like this, and you've called for membership. But one major problem is that groups like this are usually hijacked by political forces or given on a platter to some vested political interests. I would like to know, is this sort of an agenda for bigger politicians like, say, Atiku Abubakar, or just another platform for Peter Obi?
You've asked this question very well. I like you, Showunmi or whatever. Look, I've been in this country forever, and I've been part of the push for this democracy from the beginning, even before we got to 1999. And by 1999, I've been in PDP. 1999, I've been in PDP. My friends, people like my leaders and friends, if you like, people like Ashaju, they were in AD, even though we're all coming from exile. I was not on exile, I was just abroad. They were on exile, and we played very hard there. My reason for that, why I've not been with them and being this way, was that I feel that you cannot run Nigeria from a tribal mindset. I wanted us to be a pan-Nigerian party. At that time, maybe the issues of June 12 and all that made them a little bit too pro-Yoruba, and I felt, no man, what's this? And I predicted that after you become successful in the region, you're going to desire national. And the pedagogy of your speech, the habits you would have created, the people you will surround yourself with will be too Yorubanized. So I think I'm right. I may not have been the president or anything like that, but that's where we are now. So this alternative is not really a platform where we're calling for people to come and join, and that's not it. What I've been trying to, I sat down and I looked at the way we're running the country, the way we're running the democracy, and I said to myself, Segun, no, we cannot be the obstacle to our own development just because we're in democracy. How do we correct that? One, we need to become a bit more pragmatic. Why should we say everything that the ruling party, we've been in government too before, everything the ruling party does is wrong, even without engaging the thoughts that they are running? And then the hallmark of a brilliant person is to be able to engage a thought. You may reject it or accept it, but you have to engage it pragmatically, like trying to say, okay, what are they trying to do here? I didn't see us doing that. So I wanted us to start an alternative way of thinking, an alternative way of engaging. And then I said to myself, okay, are we going to be a nation where everything is not going to be discussed only from tribal viewpoint? Okay, because Bola Tinubu, a Yoruba man, is president. Am I going to now be uncomfortable with my Hausa friends and Igbo friends? And no, we have to stop the tribalization of the conversation if we are to run the country. Yes, if we don't agree with the policy, let us say we don't agree with this policy because of this, and not try to over-tribalize. Then I said to myself, okay, how do we even get our people to be a bit more conscious of what this democracy is? You have 93 million registered voters. It is something collected PVC. On the day of the election, you barely get 24 million. You are installing a president with 8-something million votes. Where are the others on the day of the election? Do they even have an idea of the cost of producing that PVC? You know, all the logistics that are going to producing it. Why would they have it in their hands and they won't show up? Do they even understand the significant effect of the civil responsibility that citizens have for elections? And why would they think that all the countries they love, England, America, and all that, why do they think that people don't participate or do their duty? We need to engage that. Then I said to myself, okay, Segun, is every vote on the election day going to be procured by the ruling party, procured by opposition, procured by the others that are going nowhere fast? What's this? Are there no people that come out? We need to discuss, no, this whole thing is getting too much. We need to lower the temperature. Otherwise, we're going to create a country where those who have made it, let's just put it that way, who get into access to the till and steal all the money, will now create a royalty of themselves, their children on the country. And what happened to the others? So these are the kinds of big ideas that was bothering me. And then I thought, no, It's not going to be a party. Let's just take a platform and start this conversation. And I like to put my money where my mouth is. Okay. I've done the North Central Zone in Jos. We have done the Northeast Zone in Bauchi. We've done the Northwest Zone in Kano. We're going to South Zone in Port Harcourt. And when we go there, you know what we always do? We'll have a town hall meeting, passionate conversation among ourselves, energize ourselves, tell ourselves that you don't need to be hating your leaders. You hated Obasanjo, what did he get you? You hated Jonathan, what did he get you? You hated Buhari, you are hating Bola Tinubu. At the end of the day, you're still going to come back and start saying, oh, you wish they brought them back. So you need to stop that nonsense. That's not a good habit. What you need to be worrying about is policy. You need to look at what's going on. And then, when we are done with the town hall, we administer questionnaire to do the data. Then we'll still go back to critical stakeholders. Maybe sometimes a king, sometimes a bishop, and just say, okay, leaders, what are you people hearing? What's going on? Because you know why? We have to make sure that our country works. Exactly. And then, of course, a lot of people say, oh, is it for Mr. A or Mr. B? Why can't it be for me? Why can't it be for me? Okay. Why can't I say, okay, I want to be president? But it's not about that. What I'm saying is that we're creating it first. And we're bringing the conversation up. And then I said to them, every time we go, I say, guys, we have been bringing you candidates. You haven't been satisfied with the way they served you. Okay, you go and produce the candidate for us now. You guys come and tell us, who do you want? When you tell us who you want, we'll profile him and then begin to help market the person you say you want. So it's like saying, be involved, Nigerians, because we don't have any other alternative than the alternative. Okay,
the alternative, like you rightly explained, it's like a platform, a political platform. But aren't you worried that while this alternative, you're trying to bring up steam, you have the political parties coming down? Peter Obi is in Labour Party. It's not holding his ground in Labour Party. Atiku is in PDP. Is holding his ground in PDP. You have Wike also in PDP, not holding his ground there. Aren't you worried that whatever you do in the alternative, the ultimate is about 2027? If these structures, political structures, are weakened, you have strong men instead of strong institutions, strong political structure. Aren't you worried?
Well, it is because of that type of worry that we're trying to engage, energize, and encourage other Nigerians to be interested in this issue. Imagine a situation where the best brains, like you and I, or you and your friend, are not even interested in actively being interested or supporting or members of the political party, and the millions of lecturers and the millions of them are just not interested. You're going to leave the first safeguard, which is political party, you're going to leave it in the hands of charlatans. And then when they then do whatever they know how to do, because you have left it to them, they're going to produce of their own nature the candidates. And then what you don't have independent candidate, even if you wanted to have independent candidate, you can't create the structure. Then you're going to pick from one finger of two leprosy hands. So to solve it, it's almost like a micro evolution, small steps to get people to say, we can't continue like this. Yes. Let us start to figure out a better way. In terms of the party structures and all that, my view, if you recall, my view has always been, and I told the PDP clear, after the 2023 election, I came to the absolute conclusion that having not been successful in 3 elections back to back, whatever excuse we give ourselves when we're rigged is no longer tenable. Because if you were rigged the first time, why did you allow yourself to be rigged the second time? If you were rigged the second time, why did you allow yourself to be rigged the third, assuming you were rigged? So I then said, okay, why don't we just accept that there is a need to reform and reinvigorate and relearn and retool the party. Of course, I don't have the power to force them, but they cannot say I didn't tell them. The thing is getting worse. Therefore, shall we now say, because for want of a better argument, the PDP seems not to be serious, shall we now say that 2027 is going to be a walkover in the park for the president? I'm not even sure the president will like that. Democratic conversation thrives. Democratic participation thrives. Democratic selection of people thrive when you can at least bring 2 for them. They have to carry this one and carry this one. And I always tell people, every election is a referendum. It's a referendum on the activities of the ruling party according to the program, which they will bring to the table. Because they're busy doing something anyway. And it is also a referendum on the opposition how they have done themselves, what they have done with them. Look at UK, for instance. You have Kemi Badenoch now, the leader of Conservative. You say whatever you like about her, she's already there. And the Conservative Party is having new energy, new gusto. And what are we going to say that Kemi is better than us in Nigeria? Come off it, man. She's our child. Whether she likes it or not, she's still our kid. And whatever energy she's able to bring to the table, we can produce thousands of millions in Nigeria. So why would we then have opposition political parties who are now not seeing that competence, capability, grit, and interest for common good is what should drive them? And I expect the judiciary to be hard on them. I beg the judiciary, be very hard on us, opposition, because I think that they are not able to change by self. The only way I think they can change is by consequence. So anytime they come with their silly cases, slam them, so that you will be tough, you'll be cruel, you'll be hard on them so that you can kill them with the malady. Otherwise, we're going to end up saying we're in a one-party state. And then the question would then be, who drove us into a one-party state? We would have driven ourselves into a one-party state because we would have created the impression in the minds of the larger citizens of our country who are even disenchanted as it is with the whole process. They fear that their votes won't count. They fear that the judiciary will not do them good. They fear that what was said or said. Why would the political parties not understand that they have to reform? And if they don't want to reform, the next best thing is to take citizen advocacy to another level, which is what the alternative is. So you guys, you need to be telling me thank you for even thinking that far out.
Well, we'll keep our eye on your political movement, but let's move on to other matters. You have called on President Tinubu to dismantle his economic team. You're not the first person to say that, but where do you think the problem lies? Do you think it's an issue of his policies and reform being poorly conceived, or the economic team implementing them and not just doing a good job?
You know, two groups of people carry the can in a democracy like ours. The media team, because when they have problems, it's naturally the media team is not good, and the economic team when the indicators are the way they are. So there's nothing spectacular about the call. The reason, and I was the first to say that, he put out his team day one, day two, I said, no, this team is wrong. So others joined in later. The reason why I asked him to dismantle that economic team is because I want him to do himself a favor. How do I mean? If you are in a multi-tribal, multi-ethnic, multi-language society where, because of the way we have handled our country up till now, I'm not blaming him entirely, there's too much mutual distrust. We run a feeding bottle economy where everybody comes into Abuja to pick their money and whatever, and whoever has the good side of Abuja is going to be even strong in his base. You need to ensure that the Nigerian citizens, critical stakeholders in the country, do not feel an unease that the only brilliant people you can find to run the Nigerian economy are your tribe men. Once you do that, you are going to put everybody in a situation where they're going to be saying, everything will now be having suspicion. They will have a pushback because their own people, none of their people is on the table when it is being designed. So when you see that, and I've gone around the country anyway, I put my ears close to the ground, I've listened to what the leaders are saying. The best thing I think you can do is, as liberties, to do it or not do it, is to now say, okay, I hear, it's true, this thing is too lopsided. Let us find others. Somebody from the south, if you like, somebody from the north, if you like, somebody, so that the whole idea of our federal character concept, it was not designed to make us inefficient. It was designed to make us cohesive. So
are you saying that the Tinubu government is tilting towards a particular side?
Everybody knows
on your Twitter handle, you pinned a post stating that his government favors the Yorubas more than any other.
Exactly.
Don't you think you should verify this fact before making such statements?
Let me bring you data.
Because the presidency has come out to deny this statement.
The presidency can deny whatever they like to deny. We're not fools and we're not blind. Who is in charge? Who is the Minister of Finance? Who is the CBN governor? Who is in charge of taxation? Who is in charge of policy of taxation? Who is in charge of custom? Who is in charge of... Do you want me to continue? The point I'm making is that the cabinet must be looked at from sectoral analysis. The sector, this is the finance sector. This is the construction, if you like, or the people that are going to spend the money, education, health, and then these are the ones that are just going to be doing policy. You have a great duty. You see, to win an election is easy. To form government is more difficult because you have to look at it and say, okay, why will all the revenue, financing, control, CBN, why will it be in only your tribe? I know you see, when we call it in Yoruba tribe, we're just fancying it. It's not. It's purely within his Lagos boys.
But
the CBN man, the former commissioner, the CBN man.
As a Yoruba man that you are,
yes.
Aren't you worried that your statements can pitch you against your kinsmen? You
see, thank you, but my kinsmen must be sensible enough to know that I'm actually doing us a favor, reverse psychology. If your kinsman is president and you're watching him eat, if you like, cockroaches, and he's eating it, you're not talking. When he starts vomiting, who's going to look after him? Now, if you continue on this trajectory, I'm screaming now, they're talking kingsmen. If you continue on this trajectory, flip it to when you have to go back to the people again and tell them, oh, please give me votes. Then they will remind you that of your 8-point-something million votes, 6-point-something came from the northern part of the country. And then they will then have the right to go to their people and tell them, he hates us. And if you just adjusted it a bit, there are brilliant people everywhere.
Now, Segun, let
me finish. If you just adjusted it a bit, you say, okay, he's listening. Okay, at least he has brought Mustafa. And hello, I am too big a national patriot to reduce myself into a tribal champion.
Now, let me bring you back to this. During the election, there was this narrative that people were going with, Muslim tickets. And over time, Nigerians realized that it's a narrative the elites push forward to kind of divide us. We had a Muslim ticket, President Tinubu and his running mate won the election. And now again, the argument is, the narrative is, the financial sector is dominated by people from the southwest. Is it about the geopolitical zone or about performance?
And you know, I like you, my Yoruba people. You know, Jesus, how did I end up with you people? Your hypocrisy stinks. If this was not a Yoruba person in government, close your eyes and imagine it was a Hausa man in government or an Igbo man in government. And all of these things were with his tribe men. I know you people are part of you. I'm a Yoruba man. I have tribal marks. You would have made this country now ungovernable with media, scream, shout. Listen, what is reasonable can be pleaded for. The Constitution has given him the powers and the right to run his cabinet, to pick his cabinet among the Nigerians. He has a minimum requirement of equity which every state must get on. He has met that. So technically he has not broken the law. What he is doing is actually he's hurting himself. Because imagine that you were in the farthest corner of the north and you've not been there. I have. And the people are having to deal with very stringent economic implication of the economic policy is running. You haven't been there. I have. The police are eating grass. And then you listen carefully, and what you are hearing is that Berebeni, meaning it's Yoruba people, they are not trustworthy. He gave everything to his brother. They are the ones in charge. How do you then advise him to correct that? Other than telling him that there is no part of Nigeria that doesn't have skills. There are skillful people. Whatever the skill set you are even looking for is existing everywhere. It takes. He fell into that trap unintentionally. I must say that up front. Why? You know, when you want to form a government and you want to reform, the first thing that will come to your mind is you are looking for the people that you know believe in reform. And if you have been sitting down as the emperor of Lagos, governor of Lagos all your life, it's likely that all of those people that you have over the time trusted the way they would do things will come from that tribe. So you need to be deliberate and intentional in making sure.
And this narrative has not really helped us as a nation going towards
Don't worry.
A geopolitical leaning. That's not helped us. And if we continue towards 2027 with this narrative, so we're going to be doing more hurts, treading on our fault lines.
No. Listen, nobody has said throw away the Yorubas. No. What we are saying, what I am saying, let me take ownership of what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, Mr. You need to do us a favor in this country by reducing the mutual suspicion that exists in our fault lines, by being fair and equitable. It's not a very difficult thing.
Now,
and let me tell you something about that Muslim ticket did not give him a challenge. Let me tell you why it will not give him. Muslim ticket will not give you challenge. It is because when you go to the demography of those who turn up on the vote on the day of the votes, I've been everything, including a director of organization of a political party. I've been director general of a presidential campaign in Ogun. What you will see is that go on the day of election, the Muslims turn out more than the Christian. So it could.
Let me quickly come in here.
But if you then lose the Muslim knot.
Let me quickly come in here. Do you sense that there's a cabal in the presidency that may be controlling, the affairs of the presidency and may be giving also the president a false impression, about the state of affairs in the nation?
You are not just a pretty face. You are also a brilliant mind. Now listen, the problem with the Bola Tinubu presidency is not so much of a cabal. The problem I see with the Bola Tinubu presidency is that somehow he has designed an infrastructure of his government that does not allow the men he has put in place to do the job they are assigned. Take this example. If he just allowed Gbajabiamila, his chief of staff, to do the job of a chief of staff effectively and not everything, everybody's come. Somebody has to be the fall guy. If you allow Gbaja to profile and do that work the way we've always known it, then people can say Gbaja the chief is the cabal. But who is the cabal in Bola Tinubu? Bola Tinubu is his own cabal. He's the only one who knows by what magic he does this and how he does this and who he does. Nobody can take responsibility, so nobody can be blamed. All the other leaders used to allow their chief of staff to be strong. Conveniently so that even when people are complaining to you, can sometimes say, Emma Dagbaja alone, don't mind Gbaja, I will see what I can do. But he's not doing that. He has watered it down so much, almost making it seem as if his alpha male is the only one that knows what is. And unfortunately, presidency is like a golden cage. You will be there sitting down there, and your boys and your people that you don't give power to go and do things for you, they won't be able to effect anything. Well, and when the cloud is gathering, you Yoruba people, I'm telling you, the cloud is gathering. You better fix your mess.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contributions on the program. We hope to continue the conversation, but maybe some other time.
Okay.
We've run out of time. Well, that's it from us here in Abuja. Over to you in Lagos, Olami.